In the shadowed heart of the Wraithwood, a forest where sunlight drowned in mist and roots whispered secrets, Talen Voss scavenged for survival. At 22, with wiry limbs and eyes sharp from years of dodging danger, Talen was a nobody in the kingdom of Vyrnath, a scavenger picking through ruins for scraps to sell in border towns. His life was hunger and haste, but his dreams were grander, a single find, one treasure, to lift him from the dust. The Wraithwood was cursed, its paths shifting, its air thick with the weight of forgotten things, but rumors drew Talen like a moth to flame, a crown, hidden deep within, said to belong to a king erased from history, its power unmatched. The forest was silent as Talen crept through its tangled undergrowth, his boots sinking into moss that felt alive. Thorns snagged his cloak, and the trees loomed like sentinels, their branches twisting into shapes that might have been faces. He'd heard the tales in taverns. The crown of the Nameless King, a relic of a ruler so mighty his name was struck from time, its wearer granted godlike strength. Those who sought it never returned, but Talen was desperate. His sister, Mara, lay sick in a border town, her fever burning through their meager coin. One treasure could save her. He found it at dusk, in a clearing where the mist parted like a curtain. A stone altar, cracked and ancient, stood beneath a tree with leaves like blackened glass. On the altar rested a crown, not gold, but a metal that shimmered like liquid starlight, its tines sharp as blades, etched with runes that pulsed faintly. Talen's breath caught. It was no myth. It was real. Talen, a voice whispered, not from the crown but from the air, low and urgent. Wear me, claim what was lost. He hesitated, his hand hovering. The Wraithwood's curse was no idle tale, travelers spoke of spectral nights, of paths that led to nowhere, of voices that drove men mad. But Mara's face, pale and fading, spurred him on. He lifted the crown, its weight featherlight, and placed it on his head. Power surged through him, a wildfire in his veins. His muscles swelled, his senses sharpened, he could hear the heartbeat of the forest, feel the pulse of the earth. He swung his scavenged dagger, and it cleaved a nearby boulder clean in two, the blade unmarred. Talen laughed, drunk on strength. He was no scavenger now. He was a king, but the forest answered. A horn sounded, deep and mournful, and shadows coalesced into forms, spectral knights, clad in armor of mist and bone, their eyes glowing like embers. Their swords were drawn, their voices a chorus of accusation. Impostor, they intoned, advancing. You are not the Nameless King. Talen's elation turned to dread. The crown burned against his scalp, its runes flaring. The knights lunged, and he fought, his newfound strength meeting their ethereal blades. Each strike felt like destiny, but the crown whispered, find the king's truth, or join the lost. The forest tightened around him, its paths vanishing, its trees closing in. Talen fled, the knight's pursuit relentless, knowing he'd claimed a power he didn't understand. Talen ran until the clearing was a memory, the Wraithwood's mist choking his lungs. The crown's power kept him strong, but his mind reeled. Who was the Nameless King? Why had history forgotten him? The knights' voices echoed, calling him a thief, and the forest seemed to agree, vines snared his ankles, branches clawed his face. He stumbled into a ruined shrine, its walls carved with faded murals, a king, crowned in starlight, leading an army against a darkness that swallowed stars. The king's face was blank, his name absent, but the crown was unmistakable. A new figure emerged from the shadows, a woman, cloaked in green, her eyes old beyond her years. Eryn, a Wraithwood hermit who knew its secrets. You've woken the forest's wrath, she said, her voice sharp. The crown belongs to a king who defied the gods. His name was erased to protect his power, but the knights guard it still. How do I stop them? Talen asked, dodging a spectral blade that pierced the shrine's wall. Find the king's truth, Eryn said. The crown holds his memories. Unlock them, prove you're worthy, or the Wraithwood will bury you. Talen's heart pounded. Mara's life depended on him, but the crown's whispers grew louder, urging him to embrace its power and fight. He resisted, focusing on the murals. The crown pulsed, and a vision flooded his mind, the Nameless King, not a conqueror but a protector, forging the crown to bind a darkness that threatened Vyrnath. He'd sacrificed his name, his legacy, to seal it away, entrusting the crown to the Wraithwood. The knights attacked again, their numbers growing. Talen fought with godlike strength, but each victory tightened the forest's grip, roots burst from the ground, mist thickened to tar. Eryn guided him to the forest's heart, a cavern where the air shimmered with forgotten time. There, a crystal pool reflected the king's final moments. He'd worn the crown, not for power, but to save his people, giving his identity to trap the darkness within himself. Talen understood. The crown wasn't a prize, it was a burden. Its power came from the king's sacrifice, and only one worthy of that sacrifice could wield it. The knights surrounded the cavern, their voices a deafening chant, "Imposter." The crown burned, offering strength to crush them, but Talen saw Mara's face, his own life of scavenging, always fighting for scraps. He didn't want power. He wanted purpose. "I'm not your king," he said, removing the crown. "But I know what he stood for." He placed the crown in the pool, its light flaring. The knights froze, their eyes dimming, and a voice, warm, not accusing, spoke from the crown. "You honor me, Talen Voss. The darkness is sealed. Go free." The Wraithwood parted, its mist lifting, its paths clear. The knights vanished, their duty fulfilled. Talen emerged from the forest, weaker without the crown's power but alive. Eryn nodded, a rare smile on her face. "You're no king, but you're no scavenger either." Talen returned to the border town, selling his scavenged dagger to buy Mara's medicine. She recovered, her laughter brighter than any crown. Vyrnath's histories never spoke of the Nameless King, but Talen carried his truth, a quiet strength that needed no throne. The Wraithwood stood silent, its secret safe, and Talen walked on, not as a legend, but as a man who'd chosen wisely.